Eagle 95.1, WUPN, Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie.
It's time for The Game. Eagle 95.1 proudly brings you The Game, the Twin Sault's only regional and national sports show. For the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look at sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region. The Game on Eagle 95.1.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Game Sports Show, the first show of 2018, live here at Boston Pizza in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. It's yours truly, David McCaig, the Kegger, Mr. Electric Avenue. And with the first show of 2018, I got my number one cast. Beside me, I got Scott Nason, the notorious Scott Nason to my left. I got Dane Hancherow to my front left, and I got Justin Hykel right in front of me, my main men here on the Game Sports Show. And this is the first show of 2018, as I mentioned. And if you recall back on the last show of 2017 at Sports Center Bar and Grill, I said that 2018 has a whole entire new agenda and a whole new outlook to the Game Sports Show. So I'm just going to jump into that. Before I do, I'm going to say Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas once again to all the listeners out there. Very excited for another 2018 year of the Game Sports Show. And with the agenda, like I said, on Mondays, starting January the 15th, the game will be back live at the Wicked Sister on 95.1. And every Wednesday, Sports Center Bar and Grill, the home to the special edition Mr. Electric Avenue segment, will still be going on even after the football season. We'll be talking about basketball, a little bit of wrestling. We're going to have a fun wrestling character in there. We're going to be talking even some tennis once in a while. Why not even some golf? We're going to talk about all variety of sports on Wednesdays at Sports Center Bar and Grill with myself, Dustin Grondin, Jamie, Justin, and Dane Hancherow. And now, Thursdays, we're going to be live at Boston Pizza, another new home on the Canadian side to the Game Sports Show. I'm very excited to have Boston Pizza franchise a part of the Game Sports Show. I'd like to thank Boston Pizza and Aaron Grisdak for getting us on board here. And you know what? It's going to be exciting to have them on board. Don't you think, Scotty?
I'm excited. First of all, Dave, thanks for inviting me over, making it across the border in record time, I might add. Man, that's the fastest I've been through the border in a long time. Might be because the Celsius and Fahrenheit temperatures, aren't they equal at this stage when it gets to about minus 30? Don't they actually equal up?
Is that a thing?
I think so, but it's
darn
cold. It is darn cold. So.
It is freezing, minus 25 degrees.
Yep. So thanks for. We got schools closed on our side.
Really?
And tomorrow.
They don't close school on this side unless you can't see outside.
We're a bunch of wimps over in the U.S., I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's going to be an exciting 2018, Scotty, and to touch on that, we're going to have our website that's going to be officially launched by January 15th.
Excellent.
Actually, www.thegamesportshow.com. I want to give a special shout-out to Andre LaFrancois for getting that all lined up for us and getting the domain purchased for us. So we're going to have all the shows, the Monday show, the Wednesday show, and here live at Boston Pizza for Thursdays on there. We're going to have About Me tabs. We're going to have trivias. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have merchandise even getting given away.
Fantastic.
It's getting pretty exciting. And you know what good better way than all four of us be sitting at this table starting. Got Scott to my left, Dane, and Justin in front of me. You know what, Scotty? I kind of want to start the show, though, talking a little bit of local stuff. Unfortunately, Jamie Henderson and Joey Miller couldn't join us tonight due to some personal reasons and Jamie being out of town. But we're going to talk about the Sioux Thunderbirds right off the hop. And you know what? There's a team that actually just traded its captain recently to the Blind River Beavers, a territory that I know very well.
You do. You played there several times.
Several times, yeah. Yes. Kind of a surprise to see the Thunderbirds trade a captain away for a player development fee was the trade. Kind of was shocked after watching a couple games with Thunderbirds this year. I thought he was a good presence on their blue line. What do you feel about the trade?
You know, it surprised me as well. I mean, you don't see too many captains that are traded in any league, let alone the NLJHL, let alone against a division rival like Blind River. I mean, you look at the standings right now. The holiday break will end here, I believe, on Thursday. The Eagles and Thunderbirds will play this weekend. But the Thunderbirds have 50 points, Blind River 46, Rayside 43, the Eagles 40. Now, Blind River has played a lot more games than all of the other three. So you're really looking at a 4-horse race in the NLJHL, and you can't count out Elliott Lake. They're down in the standings a bit, but they're a tough matchup if they make the playoffs, which they should, because Espanola right now is having a rough year to say the least with only 3 points. But, it's going to be a fun second half in the NLJHL. It's a league that I get to watch because I do the home games for the Sioux Eagles on Hockey TV, and it's a fun league. It's a league that I think has grown over the past few years. When the Eagles left it a few years ago, not quite the same league as when they rejoined it. I mean, there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of hidden gems, and this Thunderbirds team that a lot of people thought, the Thunderbirds are going to be way down this year, way down. New coaches, new owners, they're never down. They always find a way, and they're going to be a tough out. I like the Sioux Eagles team. They have a lot of talent. They can score a lot of goals. 130 goals leads the West, and they have pretty good goaltending as well. So it's going to be a fun race. Blind River, they're the defending champs in the West. And Rayside, you can't count out them. They're 20-10, so it's going to be a lot of fun in the NLJHL this year.
It is, and you know what? The Sioux Eagles have a good coach behind the bench, too. I'd like to give a shout-out to Jim Cappy there. I had him for a number of years, as you know. The West, you got to think, is definitely the superior division in my eyes. Just watching the games that I have with the Thunderbirds, being upstairs even at Centro, seeing the teams the Thunderbirds have faced, I think their best matchup, and you tested to it, was the Elliott Lake Wildcats. They're a hard-working team. They're a team that doesn't quit, but their biggest rival is definitely the Sioux Eagles. And I'm not putting out the Blind River Beavers right now. Obviously, they're in second with 22 wins, 15 losses, and 2 overtime losses, a record that I never saw when I played there, let me tell you. So for a team like Blind River to have the record that they do, this West division, it's just fantastic. You got Rayside, who is 20-10. You got all 4 top teams have 20-plus wins. When you look at the East, only 2 teams are in the 20-plus wins, where that's when you can see that definitely decide which one is more powerful, which might kind of attest to some of the losses for Blind River and Rayside because they have a lot of in-division games. You give them games maybe on the East side, maybe Blind River would be a couple more points up. And yes, they have 39 games, so Thunderbirds 34. Which really maybe you can put the Blind River Beavers in third place. And technically, if Rayside caught up to the amount of games, that's they're being 6 games behind. But this is going to be a tight race still to the finish, and it's going to be an exciting playoffs.
Yeah, and you look at a team like the Eagles, they're 4th place in the West. They've already played all their Eastern opponents. They're done with the East. They went 12-2 against the Eastern Conference, including Powassan, who's only lost 3 times this year. They're probably the class of the NLJHL, but again, their record maybe not quite wouldn't look as quite impressive if they were in the West playing those top teams all the time. And when you have Cochrane in second place, after that, I think it really trails off as evidenced by the Eagles. Again, the 4th place team in the West with the 12-2 record against the teams in the East. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I love the NLJHL. I mean, obviously, a lot of talk over here about the Soo Greyhounds as well. There should be, but this NLJHL, it's really caught on in Sioux, Michigan. Helps having Polar Stadium, helps having Polar Burgers and the concessions. The Eagles are averaging about 500-600 fans a game, and you're looking at some of the other teams over there. Lake Superior State University Lakers not averaging a lot. I mean, granted, they're getting more attendance than the Eagles, but a lot of those fans are starting to get a little frustrated with their performance on the ice. Right now, the Lakers in 9th place, and so the Eagles are starting to maybe win over some of those fans because, they have a competitive club, but it's a lot of competition over on the American side. A lot of hockey teams and not a lot of people, so that could attest to that. But it's going to be a fun 2018, my friend.
It for sure is. You know what? I got to say quickly that the Polar Stadium is definitely the best atmosphere in Sioux, Michigan. I even got to say over the Taffy Able, I'm a big fan of the Polar Stadium. And to quickly say with the Thunderbirds, they didn't take long to rename their captain.
Right.
As announced on their website, that second-year forward, Noah Solinger, is their new captain. He has currently 3rd on the team in scoring with 8 goals, 28 points through 33 games. And last season, the Chatsworth, Ontario product had 8 goals and 22 points through 48 games, so he's obviously excelled this year, and he was a Scholastic Player of the Year.
Well, he's a smart guy like you.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Accurate, right? And
Aren't you a doctor? Don't you have a doctorate or something?
PhD.
Or you work in a hospital? I'm sorry. I get those things confused.
Don't get confused with PhD or HR.
Right,
That's
exactly,
2 different things, especially in my area of HR. And and quickly, you got the NOJHL scoring race. I want to say something quickly to that, Scotty. Austin Stafer on Cochrane has 47 points in 36 games.
That's not bad. Those are almost Dave McCaig numbers, aren't they?
Those are almost my first-year numbers.
Okay,
No.
okay.
But you know what? I want to even say that the scoring are not as high as what they were in previous years.
No.
Because if you look at Jerry Patingolo, give him a little shout-out. Yeah,
Didn't he play for the Thunderbirds for like 10 years?
He did. He holds all the records. He holds all the records there, especially NOJHL. He has 10 of the 12 Thunderbird records are held by Jerry Patingolo.
Yeah.
I think even 11. But you know what? At the end of the day, the points aren't as high when you had Menardi, when you have Litzy, you had Fumerton. Maybe McCaig in 09. The points aren't as high as they used to be. And I think that really shows of how the league is really balanced. And that's what I really like about the NOJHL. It's not really a power forward type game in the NOJHL anymore. It is more of a finesse, more of today's hockey, which I like to see. But I still would love for the Thunderbirds. This is a little challenge. I wish Jamie and Joey were here to tell them. Maybe I'll have to wait till next week, obviously. But an alumni Soo Thunderbirds team against the current Soo Thunderbirds team. I would love to see that game, even at my current state now, which is actually very washed up.
You could play on a lot of alumni teams.
I could.
You could be on, about 5, 6 of them?
I looked on alumni page.
Eagles,
I'm on alumni pages for those guys.
Sure.
That's nice. I broke something, I guess, in my days.
Hey, at least you played, and I give you credit for that.
I guess if you want to call it that sometimes. But the NOJHL, definitely going to be exciting going down to the finish. Especially I'd like to see if Cochrane coming over. I think they're probably an easy guess to make the finals on the west side. How they'll play in a 7-game series against either Thunderbirds, Eagles, Beavers, Rayside, or even Elliott Lake.
You never know.
Never know. So, Scotty, what do you say that you and I take a quick break?
Sure.
When we come back, we'll talk Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. I'll get Dane, we'll get Justin in here, and we'll have a little chat. We'll have a sip on our nice Molson products.
Good stuff.
Oh, it's delicious stuff, right? So we'll be right back after these messages here on The Game Sports Show. The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to The Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends. And welcome back to the Game Sports Show here live at Boston Pizza in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. The first official show at Boston Pizza. As I said, the franchise coming on board the Game Sports Show, which we are very excited for a year of 2018 with Boston Pizza. We have some big plans with Boston Pizza this year, and something I didn't really jump into on the first part of the show because there was a lot of stuff that I had to touch on the introduction that I didn't want to lose everyone in thought. But starting next week at Boston Pizza, we are going to have a little bit of specials for when the Game Sports Show is here. So specials will start next week. So there will be $9 schooners, $4 rails, and half-price apps will be the total special here when the Game Sports Show is recording here. And we're going to be here on Thursdays. Don't get confused with the time of this one tonight being from 8 to about 10. We're going to be here actually around 9 until 10:30. The show will not be more than an hour and a half long. So you got to hurry up in here and have some apps, some alcoholic beverages on the special tab of the Game Sports Show. And you can come also talk to myself, Justin, Dane, and to the crew when we're here. Never know. You might be like E.J. Russell, and he might actually jump on the Game Sports Show from yelling in the background at the bar. Little funny little story. I don't know if you guys heard that story, but that's one for off the air. Give a special shout out to EJ and Butch Davis as well, who couldn't join us tonight either. We had quite the cast lined up today, but we still have quite the cast going right now. And we're going to continue on with the show, fellas, keeping it local. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds currently in action while we're recording right now. Down. They're losing right now to Mississauga.
3-1.
It's 3-1 to Mississauga. Thanks, Dane. And the streak's on the line. 23 games, 2 behind the record. Justin, what do you got to say about this record? And hopefully the Hounds can bounce back here.
Well, it's pretty
tonight.
Impressive they've been able to pull it off, even keep it going through the holidays with 2 of their best players playing right now for Team Canada.
Yep.
And that's,
Boris Kachuk, Connor Timmins.
And it shows the next man up mentality they got going on in that locker room, that's for sure.
Yeah, they sure do. Morgan Frost has really stepped up. Gettinger, who's been heavily criticized for his ability sometimes on the ice for being inconsistent, I think has emerged as a leader, as Boris Kachuk, who we actually plan to have on the show, hopefully within the next week, maybe 2, kind of in discussion with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds there to get all that arranged, as they're going to be a part of the show as well. But missing those two guys, you could have said it more clear there, Justin. It's when you're losing two guys that are on obviously representing our country, you would figure maybe the Hounds would be an 80% winning team opposed to being 100% since they're gone, sure.
Take the usual Christmas step back.
Yep.
Anytime we've had a player of world junior caliber leave the team at Christmas time, the team usually, loses a game or two, or there's visibly different. But
very much
right
so.
now they're playing tight.
And they're playing very well. And I definitely got to get to some games after they're going into next week and the week after when they come back from the road trip. A couple of things I want to say in terms of the winning streak. You guys might actually get a good little kind of chuckle about these records that the Soo Greyhounds actually hold a lot of records in the OHL. I don't know if you guys know this. Most points in one season with 109. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds did this in 84-85. There's one. The best winning percentage in a season, obviously, with that, .826. That's also in the record books. Most wins in one season, Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, 54, 84, 85. Now, obviously, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds being right behind London and Kitchener in terms of the streak for the 25-game winning streak there, and they're in some of the biggest record books. They don't have these other records that people don't ever look at. The longest road losing streak. They have one of the best ones here. They had one season where they're 33-0 at home. That's the first team ever to be undefeated at home, was the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. The fewest home losses in one season, obviously the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds being 33-0, and that was in 84 and 85. A lot of records that Sault Ste. Marie's breaking, a lot of little things that I've actually learned about just now. And, looking into the history of this team and the way they're winning, we should be proud of this franchise, especially now, Dane.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to win the Memorial Cup this year. If you look at the standings, I think they got a 12-point lead on the next team.
Yep.
It would be really nice to set the record, but at the same time, I think they got to really focus on the long term there. The past couple years, they really haven't been able to get out of that Western Conference final and the playoffs. So it'd be, like I said, really nice if they can get the record. They're not out of it tonight. They're down two goals with the last period left to go there. But like I said, I think the ultimate goal is the Memorial Cup this year, and I really think they got the team to do it, especially with Tkachuk and Timmins coming back after the World Juniors are done here.
Absolutely. And look who they had to face a couple years ago in the conference championship. We're looking at Sir McDavid himself, who literally took the league by storm himself. Well, he did have good company, but he was the guy. Okay, you had DePrincat, you had Strome, Radish. Yeah,
the team was good. Wasn't was Connor Brown on that team too?
Connor Brown, that's right. Yeah, then Owen Hendrick will join them after the year. Was a year after he didn't play with McDavid because he played with the Michigan Lakers, Lake Superior State University Lakers. And the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds right now are in rumors. We should talk a little bit of trade deadline stuff. My source of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds just told me that let's just say that the deadline around the corner is the busiest time for general managers. The Hounds have been heavy rumor talk with Radish and also Owen Hendrick coming back over to the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Owen Hendrick, a friend and a fan of the show. Hopefully I get him on very soon as well. Been in talks with him. Coming over from Erie to come play with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, getting that another spot for a defenseman, something the Hounds want. And Radish, I'm kind of skeptical about, though. Obviously his talent it's evident. We see it on TV, but I'm always scared to put a big piece like that on the forward bunch that they currently have. A defenseman, a little bit different. I feel if you add a defenseman, you add a solid defenseman like Owen, I feel like that could just kind of put you over the top. Or if you add a forward and a D, that might change the locker room a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I think, Radish is a veteran player in the OHL. I think, he would fit in very nicely with the Greyhounds, but I don't know. If you looked at a couple seasons ago, maybe they messed up with their chemistry a little bit, adding all these pieces with Bailey and D'Angelo and all these guys down the stretch. Yeah, Nick Ritchie. They still had a good team, don't get me wrong, but you got a team that's on a 23-game win streak right now. They have minus two of their best players, if not their two best players right now, playing for Canada right now. So, like I said, I'd make a move or two, but, nothing too significant. If you're going to bring Radish in, I'd probably just leave it at that to, not fool around with the team's chemistry.
For sure. And look at Justin.
They're doing something right.
Yeah, they are. And look, remember who they got? Jack Campbell a couple years back. How'd that project work out? Justin, remember that? This Kyle Dubas, our boy and friend. I'm not chirping Kyle, but usually you gamble on a player hoping it worked out. And did it work out with Campbell? It definitely didn't.
Well, he peaked in the OHL, I think.
Yeah, now where is he? Guy's playing AHL and Texas Stars right now, I believe.
Isn't the ECHL?
ECHL went down to the East Coast. So Jack Campbell, a guy who had drafted first round, 11th overall by the Stars.
He looked like he was going to be.
Yeah, it's hard to say at first. At first, you take that gamble and you get the best goalie in the league. You think you're just a stud.
He was the American Justin Pogge.
Yeah, good example. Great example. Great example. With Campbell, I'm using that example because I feel when you have a goalie, that really shakes up the chemistry too. You have a defenseman. It doesn't. I've been a part of teams. I'm not saying I had a brief little stint up with the Hounds for the little proxy and all that, so I was never really involved in the OHL locker room for a full season. So I'm taking this as an NOJHL or coaching perspective. But we brought in a player at the deadline that played both forward and D, a guy that you both know, I believe. Brad Pasco was a guy we brought in with the Soo Thunderbirds. He was able to play forward and D. It didn't mess up with our chemistry too much. We just ran into a hot goalie in the finals, Jake Patterson, who now is a Detroit Red Wing prospect, played for Team Canada. Literally shut us out in the sixth game. Sometimes you make those moves and they pay off and you get a guy who fits. But if you get too big of a couple big names, it can really mess the chemistry. And hopefully the Hounds, it seems like they're going to do these trades. So I wonder if it is going to mess up the chemistry. Very interested to see, especially tonight if the winning streak goes to 0 and they have to respond tomorrow night against Oshawa. So Justin, I'll get your first take on this question. The Hounds. I said that 84-85 team obviously is. I almost feel like I shouldn't include them in this question because of all the records that they broke. But let's compare the Hounds team now to previous teams, to what you know. Hockey's evolved since the 80s. Obviously, look at Gretzky in the 80s compared to Crosby today. McDavid, Matthews, those guys. Are the Hounds that we're seeing now, are they the best Greyhound team that we have seen? Or is that the Memorial Cup team still the team that's the best? Or is the team that, the 84-85 team, the team that broke the record, the best, even though they didn't win? Like, if you had to refer to an example. Justin, I'll let you go first.
I mean, as far as my memory goes, I would have to say the early 90s Memorial Cup team is probably the best.
Yeah.
That was the thing when I was growing up. Like, the Greyhounds were the thing. They were the
Tyler
Memorial
Kennedy,
Cup
Jeff
champs,
Carter.
like that.
Yep.
Well, and then, going into the late 90s, even then, like, Joe Thornton was on the team. Like, They had players.
They've always had great players. We're going to get to that before we go to our next break and talk about their players. But like we said, that Memorial Cup team, I think, you can't.
To me, I think that's the best. Now, if this team happens to,
win it.
keep going on
Should
a
we
tear.
say it? Should I say that? No,
you got to knock on wood on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it kind of depends on what way you look at them. If you're going to look for the big names, maybe this team doesn't have as big of names as that team that lost to Connor McDavid and Erie a couple years ago with all the first round draft picks. But they're definitely deep. They're deep on defense. Their goaltending's been unreal this year.
Yep.
They got 3 lines, even 4 that can roll and put the puck in the net, and everybody contributes on the team. So, and you know what? It's a team sport. What you kind of want to look for, and that's how you kind of build a Memorial Cup team is 4 lines.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. You got to be able to roll the line.
You have to.
You can't just rely on.
It's not the top 2 lines where you send your third line out now against the top. Well, there's strategic planning to be a coach, but in junior hockey you got to be able to roll your lines, like you said.
You don't just have. You can't just rely on one stud and
No.
a defense and a decent goalie anymore. It just doesn't work.
And Morgan Frost is an excitement to watch. Kachuk, Timmins, Gettinger. I know Gettinger is kind of criticized, but I don't question his leadership on that team and kind of the impact that he has. And getting rid of Raymakers. I say getting rid of in kind of a very loose way, so it doesn't sound too professional, but trading him away to London and getting rid of that distraction in the locker room, the request to trade was critical.
He didn't want to be here. So.
No, he didn't. So you don't keep a guy that doesn't want to be here. They traded him quickly.
Yeah.
And it did not turn out to be a bad thing because it turned out probably to be a better thing after he moved on to London.
It looks like it's worked out pretty good for both teams. I think he's doing pretty good in London right now. So.
Yeah, it has worked out for both teams for sure. And guys, the last thing I want to touch on before we're going over the break, and you said it earlier, look at the players that we've developed here at the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. And as the season goes on, we're going to get to talking a little bit more about games, in-game analysis, and we get into our player interviews or coaches interviews and stuff as the show goes on here at Boston Pizza on Thursdays. But I want to kind of just talk about the team more so today and how good they've been doing. and a little bit of the history to kind of touch on, and the players that we developed here. Jeff Carter, Tyler Kennedy, Adam Foote, Wayne Gretzky's played here. The Hounds have to be an attractive team for people to come to now. If you get drafted here, you're not going to pull an Eric Lindros and request a trade, I don't think, out of here anymore. You look at the records that they have, this year, and the organization right now being properly ran. And you know what? I don't see the whole full city fan support as I think we should, but it's starting to get better, which I give a shout out to the residents of Sault Ste. Marie for actually going out to the games more. We have to really admire the players that have come up in this organization and what's being on the ice right now.
Oh, it's definitely. I mean, there's every kind of generation or every group of Suites that's kind of grown up, your group of friends, my group of friends.
Yep.
You can always think back to Greyhounds teams and the players that you can relate to in the NHL or that have gone on to do things, not just players, coaches or staff like Kyle Dubas. I mean,
he's the next GM of the Leafs. Maybe say that quickly. Like, he's probably going to be the next guy as soon as Lou decides to retire, unless it's Mark Hunter, but we can get into that another time. Just saying that the products being developed here, both in a management perspective and player perspective, has been amazing for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. So, guys, anything you want to touch on with the Hounds before we go to our next break?
I think I'm good.
Good. Dana, you good?
I'm all right, buddy.
I'm excited to have the Hounds be guests on the show, hopefully, in the future as we get going on with the show. Definitely good to have this team come on board, and I'm excited to go watch many more games in the new year as more availability is definitely opened up, and definitely to watch this good team that's on the ice here in Sault Ste. Marie. So we're going to take a quick break here, fellas, sip on our nice cold Molson beverages, and we are going to come back and talk a little bit about something that's on TV right now. The World Juniors, as Canada's playing Czech Republic right now. We're going to talk about the whole World Junior tournament in full discussion, so don't touch that dial. We'll be right back here on the Game Sports Show.
The Mr. Electric Avenue segment brought to you by Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. You can't miss Sports Center's famous Monday, Wednesday, 60-cent wing nights. Sports Center Bar and Grill, great atmosphere, great food, great cold beverages available, and great service. The home to the Mr. Electric Avenue segment. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show here live at Boston Pizza. Yours truly, David McCaig, alongside Justin Hykel and Dane Hancherow. Scott Nason just stepped away briefly to enjoy some grub with his beautiful girlfriend, Becky. Made her way over here to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, to this great sports bar, Boston Pizza. And there's also another great sports bar, Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar. And you know what? Definitely got to check out their Monday, Wednesday famous 6-cent wing nights. Got to give a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop, the Salon, North Shore Sports and Auto, the Wicked Sister, and Pingator Cleaners. Also, Discover the Canvas for your sponsors on the show. And the reason why I got to give them a shout out, guys, is because without these sponsors, we wouldn't be where we are. And especially Boston Pizza coming on board here on the Game Sports Show. Could not be more excited having a well-known franchise come on board and actually invest into listening to us, Justin.
Yeah.
Who would have, and Dane, who would have thought, and Scott and Dustin and Jamie, everyone who's on the Game Sports Show, EJ, Butch, we have a whole huge cast, and you're going to be able to read into the cast when our website gets launched on an About You page. I'm excited to read Justin Hykel's About Me page. I just got a little feeling with that beard coming down. About me. Who do you got?
I feel like you know too much already.
I feel like Dave could write our miles for us.
I think he already has them written.
Yeah.
And so he's going to mix them, like whatever we put in and then whatever Dave decides needs to go in.
I think when you hover over Justin Hykel's name or picture, it could say moist.
That's uncomfortable.
Okay, guys, we're going to get back to the sports talk here. And speaking of sticking it to hockey, because you're at the Boston Pizza Show, as I said, going into the new year, this is going to be a hockey show for Boston Pizza in terms of local and professional. And in the summer, it's going to be a baseball show. And the Wednesday show at Sports Center is going to be basketball, wrestling, and football and all that. Then obviously Monday is going to be in everything freestyle. Then obviously Monday on 95.1 we talk variety as well. But with the World Juniors, guys, before we jump into the current game that's actually live while we sit here for Canada and the Czech Republic, I want to rewind a little bit. I want to get into Canada and the United States. Hey, I'd be damned if I didn't talk about the United States and Canada rivalry on the World Juniors. Outdoor game, the stadium where the Buffalo Bills play, some horrid conditions, decided by a shootout. Now, Dane, Justin, I know we've talked about this on the show before, and I'm going to wait for Scott when he comes on, because we've talked about it on the game on Mondays, talked about it on the game Wednesdays. We're going to talk about it here on Thursdays, endless about the shootout, so we don't have to jump into that right now. But the game, the outdoor game, that's what we'll talk about. Do you like the outdoor games, Dane, or are they getting a little too old? Then Justin, you can follow.
Yeah, I got a couple of things to say about the outdoor game. I do enjoy them. I think, having them in the middle of the NHL season where, every game is meaningful, but, maybe not quite as meaningful as a game in the round robin of the World Juniors. Yeah. Especially when you got the two top teams in your pool there playing each other who, pretty much is going to determine, first place. The U.S., ultimately lost to Slovakia, which they gave Canada the first seed in there, but I think it's a little bit too big of a stage to have an outdoor game where they're you're not playing outdoor games all the time kind of thing. That being said, you know what? The game ended up being really exciting. The weather in Buffalo is usually not very good during the winter. It snows a lot there. It snowed that game.
It continued to be terrible.
Yeah, the puck was bouncing a little bit here and there, but at the end of the day, I thought it was a really exciting game, back up and down the ice, lots of shots, there might have been a couple more goals as the puck didn't bounce over the snow. It was a little bit too long based on they had to clean the ice a lot. Yeah. My final decision about the outdoor game is I don't think it's good for the World Juniors or any kind of international tournament like that. But for the NHL, I think I keep them going. I think it really advertises the game, especially when you can have an outdoor game in Anaheim or something like that outside, and you got palm trees. It really advertises the game. Yeah. Down in the States there, but I wouldn't do it again in the World Juniors.
Justin?
No, I agree. I think the World Juniors is too small of a stage to try and pull off an outdoor game. Was it cool to watch? Yeah. The American jerseys were the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. Yeah. But it was a little tough to watch on TV because it dragged out. It was a long game.
And that camera angle was god awful. It made the ice look like
it was literally like Anna McCaig out there. That's what that ice looked like.
It was like a World Juniors at Merrifield.
It was. And with the outdoor game, I couldn't agree with you guys more. World Juniors is a big. That's countries battling each other for supremacy. Hockey teams do the same thing. If you've got the Edmonton Oilers and Toronto Maple Leafs, for example, in an outdoor game, you're making some big cash in that game, one. But two, you have an 82-game season. It is meaningful each game, but that one game provides that excitement. That Winter Classic, the Leafs and Wings at the Big House. That kind of stuff, I can get behind the NHL keeping it. Especially, like you said, I can't believe I didn't think of it. The Anaheim games, those are so cool. And games going over to Europe, sure, that takes away a home game, but that's cool. Those little things are kind of cool to see. But the World Junior action.
But that's the difference between 82 games compared to 5 games or 4 games in a round robin.
Where one loss could
make or break.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way that people that put this on made money on that game, though.
There's no way that the Federation made money on that.
The rink was empty because most of the people were coming over from Canada, and there was an accident on the QEW. So 40,000 people were late for the game. Think about 40,000 people trying to get through the bridge.
Oh, yeah, you're not getting across the border. It takes a hard time getting through the border with 20 people here.
If it's like customs here, there's going to be 60,000 cars on the bridge. They're going to have one booth open.
And you know what? With the World Juniors, I'm not blaming it. USA played a great game. Canada played a great. I'm not saying we lost because of the conditions.
Oh, no, it was a good game.
It was a good game. Fair one game by U.S. because the bounces were going, the bad and the good bounces were going both ways. And USA battled back. They battled where Canada let their foot off the gas. So I'm not making an excuse train here for anyone in the United States. For the majority of us listening in the United States, don't say that I'm being a typical Canadian by making an excuse perhaps. But at the end of the day, great game. Just the conditions and the total need of a win in the World Juniors is so crucial that I feel that I like what they tried. I give you a thumbs up for trying, but there's no way they made money like you said. No. And there's absolutely no way they should do it again.
I also thought it was ironic that the game finished in a shootout, of all things. You're chasing around the puck, banging bodies all day, the puck's getting buried under snow, and then, let's take 5 minutes to flood the ice there so we can have a little shootout in this, outdoor classic game.
How about that one shovel they had, though, to clear the ice? It was like a double wide. For the driveway.
No, for sure.
I gotta give props up to the crew there, the shovel crew there.
They had their work cut out for them.
They did. They're $11.50 an hour, or it's actually $15 now, right? Minimum wage.
Wow, probably not in Buffalo.
Well,
that's right. Good point.
They were prepared. They had the leaf blower there to blow the snow over. They had shovels, garbage cans, the whole shebang there. So they did really well.
Kudos, but definitely stick to the NHL, though, in my opinion. Sticking with Canada, guys, we're going to touch on Sweden and USA briefly a little bit. And I also have the Team Switzerland coaches interview is something that we definitely have to touch on before we close up, before we go to our next break. Canada versus Czech Republic currently going on. Currently, as we discussed in the first intermission, with Canada up 2-1 on Czech Republic. You guys said close game. Canada wins by 2 or 3. I don't really see that as a close game, but at the end of the day, Canada must be a favorite going into this game, but Czech Republic's battling right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. You got to look at the Czechs. They had a little bit of a rough game against Belarus there and barely pulled that one off. But you know what? Big game against the Russians. Beat Russia, Finland in the shootout. They look like the Czechs actually won the World Juniors after that game with their celebration at the end of the game. But I don't know. This is probably one of the best Czech teams that I've seen in a while. Yeah,
which is exciting for the Czech Republic youth to see going into the NHL. Look, you see the Czech Republic people that are currently in the NHL. Let's name their top 2. Should I? Zdeno Chara and Jágr.
Alashevsky, my boy.
Yeah, there's another guy who's not the top 2 there, but but you can see Anze Kopitar.
Kopitar is not.
He's not. Slovenian. Thank you very much.
His dad was the coach of the national team.
That's right. Okay, so I stand corrected with that. But Chara and Jágr, those aren't young chickens anymore in the NHL.
They do have a lot of good young guys too. They're just not.
We got a couple guys. Voracek for a league.
Voracek, I'll give it
Placanitz, he's pretty old though too, but I think Jacob Voracek's probably the best player out of all of them.
Yeah, Voracek.
The Cabrolets.
Wow. Tomas Kaberle used to give Brian McCabe that one.
What about Frantisek? Don't forget about him. He played for Carolina.
Oh, what about Roman Chikmanik? Remember Roman Chikmanik with the Los Angeles Kings? Okay, getting back to it though, guys, exciting to see that the younger Czech Republic team coming up. Good to see the country get around. Pretty soon we're going to see the Japanese and Chinese maybe in the World Juniors one day, because a little news leak out of there is that they're having aggressive training camps.
Yeah, well, the Russian Olympic team had some aggressive training camps too, and look where that got them.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Czech Republic, Canada. It'd be very tough to see Canada not win this game, don't you say, guys? That'd be kind of heartbreaking to Canada.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting Canada to lose the game, but in 1998 we also lost to Kazakhstan in the 8th place game there, so, anything can happen.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes, absolutely.
We shouldn't have let the Kazakhstanians there borrow sticks from the team. They only had 8 before the game, and Canada, because, we're nice Canadian people there, we gave them a couple extra sticks there, and I think we regretted it after the 6-3 loss. So.
Gave them the good sticks.
Yeah.
The next game, though, the semis between Sweden and the United States. Sweden, I'm a fan of Sweden, to be honest, guys, and their youth that they have in place there. Like, I really feel that, that they beat the United States today 4-2 in the semis. That's the other game, to say quickly. The United States wearing their Buffalo Bills jerseys, maybe thinking that's good luck after beating Canada. I guess they needed anything against any other team. But when you think of Sweden, you got Nylander's brother on the squad. They have Ekman Lars-esque. They got different guys on there. That Sweden's actually the favorite to win this tournament going into the tournament this year.
Well, I feel like the Swedes have one of the more professional programs.
Yes.
As far as development goes, like countrywide. I mean, Canada was the be-all and end-all for a very long time, but I think going into the tournament this year, I thought the U.S. was going to be the team to beat, to be totally honest.
Okay.
They had the best team on paper, for sure, I would think.
But, like, watching the Swedes are the real deal.
Yeah, they're very good. They're a very good hockey team.
Yeah, and like the thing with the States is they're consistently inconsistent in the World Juniors. They beat Canada one game but lose to Slovakia. It's the same thing every year. They are the defending champions, but
their goalie just lets some bad goals in.
Yeah,
and he's a Leaf prospect that kills me. It absolutely kills me.
It's okay. We got Freddie in that. It's okay. We got the Freddie Krueger in that. Freddie Krueger down there, buddy. We keep him over anybody coming up right now. But the States, you guys beat us. You guys made it pretty far to the semis. I can't see them not winning the bronze medal at least this year for the World Juniors. You know, check, or if it's Canada, we still don't know yet.
Yeah.
Knock on wood in the bronze medal game.
I don't think the States have a very good running in the bronze medal game in the World Juniors. They usually seem like they give up.
They do.
Yeah.
Sweden,
give up and die.
And Canada has difficulty against Sweden a lot sometimes, the finals too. So that's going to be interesting to see as long as Canada gets there.
Classic World Junior, we're either playing the States, Russia, or Sweden in the finals, and it looks like we'll be playing Sweden unless we big surprise in this game against the Czech Republic.
Yeah. A couple more things before we go to break, guys. Already said what we want to do in terms of who we think's predictions. Boris Kachuk, though, Connor Timmins, I got to say, you guys are fitting quite in. You're fitting in nicely, quite nicely is what I meant to say, actually. And you're representing the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds very well. Again, congratulations for your run thus far. Next thing I want to say, guys, before we go to break, Team Switzerland's coach. Did you guys hear this interview?
He's got a lot of confidence in his team.
I think he's just brutally honest. I just shouldn't lie to your hockey team. He didn't. Everything he said, he wasn't wrong about.
They're absolutely going to destroy us. They dominate penalty kill, power play, shooting, skating, hitting, stopping pucks, discipline, coaching.
I think he was just trying to let his team know, be a realist about what they were going into. I think he probably anything can happen. I don't think he said there was no chance they weren't going to win, but.
Do you think that's a good tactic?
I don't think it was any secret to the players going into the game.
I don't think anyone's surprised. I just think it's.
What about Miracle on Ice 1980 with USA beating Russia?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's not going to happen.
What about Kazakhstan beating Canada? That he plays game giving them sticks.
Yeah, we're not letting anyone borrow any sticks this time.
See, the thing is, I'm a believer of motivation. When your coach brings in negative, when you're in a workplace of negative, I feel that really can mess the culture. Now, they knew going in, like you said, they weren't going to – I get it. I totally get it. But I've never seen a coach of a professional stature of this, and you're in the world stage, talk like this about his team. I actually am lying. There's college coaches saying playoffs. Okay, now that I'm really thinking about it in my head, there are coaches that have, but –
I don't really think he was being negative. He's being honest. He's just being brutally honest. And maybe he's doing a little bit of reverse psychology.
Maybe
you all suck.
Yeah.
Do better.
I think maybe that's what he was trying to go for, is to try to, saying that to the media, maybe try to get in the, the Canadian players' heads. But I think, there's probably there was little to no success rate for
you gotta remember, it's World Juniors too, so these kids' dads are watching, they hear the coach saying that about them, dads are texting the kids, it's like, yeah, look what your coach is saying about you on TV.
Yeah, he's saying you guys are bums, you can't skate, you don't know how to back check. I love it. I love hockey. I love coaches more sometimes. I never really had a coach like that. Actually, I just lied. Yes, I did, and he's going to remain nameless because I just don't feel like getting my house egged by him. But, guys, moving on. We're going to take a quick break. We had a little bit of World Junior discussion. When we come back, it's going to be jumping in from, we've talked about local, we talked about World Juniors. We're going to be jumping into the professional sports now of the NHL, and we're going to welcome Scott back into that. It's going to be us four talking, and we're kind of in a round table sequence about the NHL. So don't touch that dial. It'll be Dave, Justin, Dane, and Scotty back after these messages.
The Mr. Electric Avenue segment would also like to thank its additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, located on 30 Calboogie Road in Echo Bay, Ontario. Ran and operated by Ryan Jordan Roquetta. North Shore Sports and Auto, meet all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Would also like to thank The Salon, located on 587 Second Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. The Salon, making the Soo beautiful, one haircut at a time. Would also like to thank the Superior Pro Shop, located in the Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. For over 40 years, the Superior Pro Shop meeting all of your skate sharpening, skate repairs, and hockey needs.
And welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Dave McCaig here alongside Scott Nason, Justin Hykel Dane Hancherow. Fellas.
You got really ugly French.
Isn't that?
That's bad.
5, 4,
Cut it
3,
out.
5. Yeah. The countdown was on coming back from break, and I tried the French accents. Maybe next time we'll do it in Italian.
I don't know.
No way. And we've been live here at Boston Pizza, the first show of 2018 for the Game Sports Show. Boston Pizza franchise coming on board for the Game Sports Show. And let's just say, putting it lightly, we are thrilled to have Boston Pizza come aboard, and the biggest plans are yet to come for 2018.
I'm a big fan of pizza.
I am a big fan. We should make a nickname maybe down the road, call it the ZA. We are at the ZA.
No.
No, okay, just Boston.
I mean, I think they got it nailed down with BP already.
Yeah,
So
BP. I think it's on the menus.
they did the work for us.
Yeah, they did.
Let's not try and reinvent the wheel here.
No, we shouldn't, because I don't think they gave me the wheels to do that. Now, I got to say quickly, when we're here Thursdays, when once again that's going to be at 9 p.m. after 9 for a couple hours, starts next week. There'll be $9 schooners, $4 rails, and half-price apps. Good little Boston Pizza treats. Come on, check them out. My boy Aaron Grisdak. You come on here. You come in when we're here. You get to get a little bit of deals. You're getting entered into the computer officially next week. Look at that, Justin. We made a menu.
Yeah.
We're on a menu special.
I like that.
We're on a website now. It's coming launch. www.thegamesportshow.com.
You're on a website and it's not Crime Stoppers.
That's right. We made it on that.
Yeah.
And the game is growing like weeds, and I love it. It's exciting. But, guys, just like this first show, it's been exciting. It's been action-packed. You know, we saved a couple weeks off. We talked to all the local sports, the Thunderbirds, NLJHL. We talked about the Greyhounds. We talked about the World Juniors and a little bit of insight of that. And a good little talk about Team Switzerland's coach. I had to talk about that. And that was as per request from Anthony Miller to talk about was a Team Switzerland coach. So, you know, now we're going to talk about professional sports. And, you know, with the Twin Sault's only and best sports show, we get to talk about variety. That's the luxury. We get to talk about everything, and that is the best thing about our show. We get to talk local professional sports. So, Justin, you and I are going to talk right now about our team. You're wearing that sweater that I so much adore right now that I actually want to rip off your chest.
Settle down.
That I actually want to wear. The Leafs. Currently in action against the San Jose Sharks. San Jose Sharks, a pretty good team still in hockey. The Maple Leafs are still a very good team. They're still one of the topper teams in the Eastern Conference. It's very tight, though, in the Eastern Conference. And they just had a very fast and tight game against Tampa Bay Lightning, the NHL's best Tampa Bay Lightning. And dare I bring it up again, what does Toronto need, Justin? Dare I say it? You know, I've said it for how many damn weeks in a row? How many months have I said what the Leafs need? Dave, what have I said every show that the Leafs need?
I don't know, a defenseman?
There you go, a defenseman.
Is that it?
And you and I have talked that, yeah, you don't mortgage the future, you don't talk, they don't grow, you let them grow. But come on, enough's enough now. We need a defenseman if you want to maintain the course of being one of the more topper teams in the East. And the East is wide open unless you're the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's one of the that's the cream of the crop.
Second place in the East is wide open. That's
but at the end of the day, defensemen, Justin. They've been rumored to be this and that with the defensemen. I don't want a Jake Trouba. I lied. I do want a Jake Trouba. Sure, I want a Slavin off Carolina. Sure, I'd love those type of guys. But no, who's the guy that I've said I've wanted for 4 months? Mark Stahl. I've said it for months and months, and I don't know why. My gut just says Mark Stahl. Maybe it's intuition. I'm not sure. Maybe I should tell Dubas, pick up Mark Stahl and put it on my name. I don't know if I should dare say that. But they need a defenseman. They need a nice second pairing defenseman to fit in nicely with somebody who is the worst defensive defenseman on the Leafs. And sorry, Joe Bowen, I know you chirped me hard about Jake Gardner, but I'm not a Jake Gardner fan on that blue line, and he needs some help back there. And Zaitsev's not been there the past 2 games. That's very evident as well. But Mark Stahl, a couple years left on his deal. Before Austin Matthews' deal kicks in, which is going to be mammoth, and we've talked about that on the show. We won't go into that topic because that's why I got your guys' reaction from that. Mitch Marner and Nylander, their contracts are going to go. Mark Stahl will be a free agent by then. Bring in an experienced defenseman that can help these young core, and I think he'd be a good guy at the helm.
Well, the thing is like, you know what, I've told you this before, if you're going to get a guy like Mark Stahl or any top 3, defense or top 3 kind of guy on a team in the NHL there, you're going to have to trade a Nylander or a Marner for them. NHL defensemen are not cheap to trade for, and that's why you don't really see any big deals through the offseason with especially guys that are under 30. You might see an older guy that might be on the tail end of his contract. Maybe you can get him, but getting a guy like Mark Stahl that might have 3 years left on his deal. I'm not sure exactly what his contract is, but
2 years on that.
New York's not trading Mark Stahl unless they're getting Marner or Nylander.
You don't think like a Shostakov, Carrick in a second would get the job done, especially for a guy who's cap heavy on a team that's looking to rebuild?
You're trading a first or a Marner. I don't really. The other pieces are kind of irrelevant, but it's either a first or a Marner.
Do you really think a team like the Rangers, they're going to trade Mark Stahl to the
They're in
Leafs?
a wild card spot right now, too.
They look at the Leafs. If we're talking about it, you know what I mean? Other NHL GMs obviously knows that the Leafs need a defenseman.
Oh, God, do they ever.
They're not just going to gift them away.
In Vegas, there's a team that has a surplus of them that actually has people to offer for maybe a decent price. They're one of the best teams in the West. Might not be that decent.
What you got to look for is a team that's willing to move a guy like that who's already maybe, asking other GMs around, looking for deals of a guy that they're trying to move. Like, for Toronto to go to a team and ask for a defenseman, then you know what? It's going to cost more money, right? Because that team's not, in the market to be trading for this guy. So it kind of has to have a piece that's going to fall into place for them, like a guy that comes to be available that maybe you might be able to get a better deal, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get anybody that's equivalent to Morgan Riley or even.
You know what the big name is going around, and this is not. I'm not saying this is going to Toronto. So please, I know. I'm just saying, Chris Letang. Pittsburgh is actively shopping. We're going to get to deadline stuff a little bit too.
I hear that's a false rumor, and that the Pens are not shopping Letang.
Let's hope that is because, and hopefully hopefully he doesn't go to Toronto. Guy's injury prone. But sticking with the Leafs. Defenseman's needed, but we did well with Austin Matthews, but it's nice to have him into the lineup, don't you think?
Let's take a quick look at the standings here, and let's see who's going to be really out of it in the West in about 6 weeks.
Well, you got the Edmonton. No, just kidding, Dan.
Because I think that's where you're going to
see with the standings. You got teams in the East that are low. Let's go here quick. Buffalo's low. You got Philadelphia sort of low, not that low. Ottawa, meh, but they're not going to make a trade with the Leafs. You got Colorado, who is actually not that bad in terms of being low, but teams that are really out of it,
Colorado's last in their division right now.
And they're 20-16.
Yeah.
And they're 20-16. Arizona, that's the team you're looking at that's an absolute dumpster fire, like the Cleveland Browns of the NFL. And then you got, like I said, I think Philly's open for business in Buffalo. You got Zach Bogosian there in Buffalo. Why not pursue a division rival or something?
But now, who's going to be up against the cap going into the summer, too?
Maybe New Jersey?
Chicago's going to be having some issues.
Oh, Chicago is at second last in their division right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to Chicago, but...
So take a look at that team.
Are you saying Seabrook?
I'm not saying
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying they might
there
have...
There's your... I
think Seabrook or Bogosians would be a pretty good fit for Toronto. Yeah. Two guys that are are potentially on the move if their teams don't kind of turn around their fortune right now.
See, the good thing is about Toronto, though, to kind of wrap up the Toronto talk before we bring in Scotty here, and we're going to talk about all sports in terms of the NHL teams. The Leafs, exciting to watch. A little bit of a slide these last couple games. They're at home for a while now. Curtis McElhinney was out with a lower body injury, and they called Calvin Picker to play his old team. I think that's more of a showcase. I called a bluff on Lou Lamoriello on that one. I don't think Curtis McElhinney was truly hurt.
I think McElhinney was out with a case I need the week off for family time at Christmas.
Probably. He deserves
That's what I think that is.
Yeah. And you know what? The kid played well. He showed that he can still play as a backup goalie in the National Hockey League, sort of.
I mean, they threw him in against his old team on a 6-minute notice. He probably had
zero rest.
A couple carrot sticks on the way to the rink. And
see, in the Leafs right now, sitting second in their division, tight between Boston, tight between the boys up there. It's going to be interesting to see coming down the stretch. I want to hear what you guys think on the listening end of the Toronto Maple Leafs about the terms of defensemen. everyone who's listened to our show knows how much I've talked about Toronto getting defensemen, and I will say it like a broken record. I wanted to say it here again on the first show of Boston Pizza because I want to get that more reaction on the side of what you think Toronto will do on the defensive side of things and how excited you are for Toronto to be as good as they are right now, and let's say maybe a favorite to go in the second round at least in the playoffs, because guess who you're playing in the second round? Tampa Bay Lightning. And you know they're making the second round, and I don't know how that's going to go for my little young Leafs against a quite superior. They're ahead of Toronto right now. I'm going to say that radically.
Tampa, I'm going to say they're probably guaranteed to play Boston in the first round.
Toronto,
again.
yeah.
And remember how that went last time? So
little revenge would be sweet. Little bit
we'll see.
But don't forget, they lost in the last 1 minute against Chicago. They got 2 goals in the last minute to lose the cup. Revenge, hockey gods, that is a thing. Toronto fans were tickled pink because of that.
I wasn't. I was still pretty mad. I'm still pretty mad.
Can you watch that? Can you ever watch the highlights?
I don't
can't.
think so.
No.
It's the same thing with that onside kick in the Super Bowl against New Orleans.
Oh, no.
I don't remember the second half of that Super Bowl. I was just outside screaming at the sky.
Well, tell me about it.
There's a lot of broken TVs on Kijiji that time for Toronto, too. Moving on, guys. We're actually going to talk about the Lightning. Scotty, I'm going to welcome you and jump in here, and I'll let you actually start. I want to say they're 29-8-2. Stammer, it looks like he hasn't missed a beat after being out for the majority, or for all last year pretty much. And the captain, him and Kucherov are like the Yari Curry, Wayne Gretzky of the 80s. I'm not saying Stammer's Wayne Gretzky because he's not, but they're playing like it is what I'm saying. They lead every category probably in the NHL in terms of goals and points. I think Kucherov has both standards there, or Stammer's up there too. So right now, Scotty, Tampa Bay Lightning, are you on board with this team?
Yeah, Dave, I am. I mean, you look at what they've done. I mean, and you look at this Valisevi. I can't even pronounce his last name. I'm not good on Russian.
Vasilevsky, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, he just got about his 25th win. I think his 6th shutout the other night against Toronto, I might add. Tampa Bay right now is the big story to me in the East. I think the other surprise a bit is New Jersey. I don't think a whole lot of people had New Jersey battling with Washington and Columbus in that Metropolitan Division, which I bring back the Patrick, the Smythe, the Adams, and the Norris division. These Metropolitan divisions have got to go. But, Tampa Bay is the real deal. Their general manager, Steve Yzerman, somebody near and dear to my heart. And, wow, look at that. The Greyhounds have tied it up. They'll never lose again. I'm going on record right now. They're never, ever going to lose again in my lifetime, and I'm 23, so we'll go there. But, going back to Tampa Bay, I mean, they're the team to beat in the East, I think. Washington, a team that is up there every single year but seems to not be able to get it to the next level. Not sold on them. Looking at these, Toronto's going to be in there along with Boston, but, Tampa Bay, Dave, right now is the team to beat. I don't know what you guys think about them, but, we were talking before the broadcast. Lightning, they're for real.
Tampa's convincing. I haven't watched a team, at least this season, where I was that convinced watching them. I was like, they're a playoff team right now, watching them play. Like, it's not even hey, they got this to work on, they got this. No, let's just bring on the playoffs.
Yep. And I should say quickly, too, that Boston's actually second in the division. Toronto's 2 points
I know,
behind.
Boston's...
I should say it correctly.
With 3 games with 3 games in hand.
But at the end of the day, Tampa is definitely the team.
Tampa's the team to beat, I think. Even if you look at the last couple of years, lots of teams people have predicted Tampa to be in the Cup final, and they've been plagued by injuries, but they got a healthy team. You look up and down the lineup, Palat, Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman's, turning into one of top 5 best defensemen in the league. Their goalie's playing awesome. They got all the pieces to make a really good long playoff run there. And I do foresee Tampa being in the Cup final this year. I really do.
And unfortunately, they're going to have to beat Toronto in the second round to get there.
Because we know Washington's not making it, and Pittsburgh might not even make the playoffs this year. So
that'd be ridiculous.
Side note, from that Toronto-Tampa game the other night, I think from future games, Tampa has to wear their black old jerseys.
The Bolts.
This blue and white on blue and white stuff was a little I'd go to the kitchen, grab a beer, come back, and it's like, who's in one end?
And then you look at number 91, giving it to the puck to 86, and you go, oh, yeah.
It's like, wow, wait a minute. Stammer isn't on the Leafs. Damn.
See, and with Tampa Bay, definitely got to give them a little kudos for sure. Congratulations, Tampa, for being good. Cherasolo, my friend Josh Cherasolo, who's getting married this year, one of my up-teen weddings this year. Thanks, friends.
You got that this year, right?
Oh, I got best man standing up in a couple weddings. My bank account's going to be hurting this year. I wonder if BP could help me out with that. And I'm just kidding, Aaron, for sure. But moving on from that, guys, is another top team in the league, the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the Western Conference. I'm going to go to Scott here because Scott, when we first started talking across the river at the Wicked Sister, the odds at Vegas were 200 to 1 of them making the playoffs, 500 to 1 for them winning the cup. We now have the top 2 odds to win the cup and the top 2 odds to make the playoffs. If you would have put $20 down on the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and I stand correct, I think you would have gotten $4,000. Quick math at the top of my head. Just for throwing $20 down. If you would have thrown $200 down, goes up. Keeps going up 20 plus.
That is how math works.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
They're quite the team. Sioux native Colin Miller, who's been on the game, who's going to be coming on within the next month or so as well. There's a guy being a part of that team. They're exciting to watch.
Yeah, they really are, Dave. This not quite the expansion team that we're used to. We haven't seen expansion a whole lot, obviously, in the NHL. But, I kind of wish, I'm a Wings fan, I kind of wish that the Wings would have traded places with Vegas. Vegas can have all our guys, and we would have been able to do this expansion draft because this is a really good team. And I think a lot of these guys maybe have chips on their shoulders a little bit. Like, you know what? These guys didn't want me. I'll go to Las Vegas, and I'll have myself a pretty darn good year. I mean, you look at their leading scorer, and again, my pronunciations are pretty bad tonight, but Jonathan Marchessault, I don't even know who he is. I'll be quite honest. I have no idea who he is, and I follow the NHL. He's their leading scorer, and, you look at their goaltenders. I mean, you thought it would be Marc-Andre Fleury getting the majority of the starts, but right now it's Malcolm Subban, who has 13 starts. He's 10-2. Fleury's not too bad himself, 8-1, 0-1. So this is a team that's, for real. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, barring a collapse. And you mentioned those odds, Dave. What did you say, 200 to 1 that they would make the playoffs? Those were almost the same odds of you being a 50-goal scorer. I believe in the NOJHL, you had to add a couple 2-0-0s to that. I believe it was 20,000 to 1. I did take a buck bet on that, so I'm kind of disappointed. It would have been $20,000. But, gentlemen, I mean, this Las Vegas team, along with Winnipeg in the West, I really love these two stories right now, guys. Vegas and Winnipeg, Western Finals?
Yeah, I think the thing about Winnipeg is they've never really had the goaltending before. This year they're getting it from Hellebuck finally. I think he's like 18-4 right now. I think I looked at that about a week ago, so it's probably a little bit different. But Winnipeg's always had a really good team offensively. Defensemen, they've been playing by goaltending. And then, as far as Vegas, I'm not going to pretend that I was one of those people that were like, oh, yeah, they have a really good team. And they did get this year. I'm completely shocked by, there we go. Completely shocked by how Las Vegas is doing. And I think it says a lot going through, 4 goaltenders, and they still stayed relevant through that little stretch. And now they're on an 8-game winning streak. And
look, as soon as Fleury went down with injury for, I think it was, 5 games, they nope, this team's going to get destroyed.
No, and it was...
Who went in there? Donsk.
Well, they had Malcolm Subban went in there for a couple games, and then Dansk, and then Maxime Legacy or something like that.
Yeah, and you got Malcolm Subban, who was written off by Boston, basically came up again with Boston against St. Louis at one time and got absolutely shelled. And then now he's in Vegas playing with no pressure, a little relaxed. He's got a good teacher in the Flower behind him. And you know what? Malcolm Subban looks like he's the future of Vegas, while Fleury is the current of Vegas. Still, even though Subban has more games right now, they might give him the hot hand. Like Scott was saying, he's getting the hot hand right now. So, it's good to see Vegas doing this. Did you think Vegas was going to do this? No way in hell. I'm sorry to say hell.
I figured they were going to be okay. I mean, coming out of the summer, they had, 10 defensemen on the roster? On their starting...
But there were NHL experience.
On their game day lineup, they had 10 defensemen. Any team with 10 defensemen should be okay.
Yep. It should be. And you know what? Vegas making the playoffs is probably going to happen. A couple more things before we go to the Edmonton Oilers. Before we go to our shootout discussion before multiple choice quickly. So we've got about 10 minutes left here or so, guys, before we wrap up our show. So the Edmonton Oilers, Dane, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to talk about your sorrow.
Just get it out.
What is going on? They're 9 points, correct me if I'm wrong, out of a playoff spot, I believe right now is the correct amount. Top of my head after I'm just kind of talking here, spitballing. Is it running out? Is it time? Or is it still too early?
I'll keep it short and sweet. I think there's probably 3 things that come to mind right now. The special teams have been god-awful this year. The penalty kill, we can't keep the puck out. I think we have, if not the worst penalty kill in the NHL right now. Not having Andre Sekera for the first, 35 games of the season hurt a lot more than I think Peter Chiarelli and Co. thought it was going to. I looked at their defensive roster, and I was like, you know what, with him even in the lineup, I think there was always room to maybe, improve it. Wasn't a big fan of the Chris Russell signing, I mean.
Helped us with a win in Toronto.
Yeah. That one still hurts too. But, and inconsistent goaltending. Mark Talbot hasn't been the same goaltender he was last year. So and I think, they were kind of riding him there for a bit last year. He, stole a lot of games for them, quarter way through the season, which kind of gained confidence, and they were, starting to trend up. But this year, it's just, they go on a bit of a winning streak, and then they lose, 4, win 4, lose 4. And
streaky team right now. It's the same thing. I think Ottawa's in the same boat as Edmonton in terms of expectations. And Justin, we'll go to the Ottawa Senators quickly here. They had so much promise going into the season. They're well under 500 right now. I think a handful plus games. Fans throwing jerseys on the ice, and that's one thing I want to get to before the shootout discussion. Ottawa, though, there are Battle of Ontario rivalries, but we like when they're competitive because it makes the scenery more exciting to watch. Fans aren't going to games. The arena's not downtown, which is an absolute joke. It's in Canada.
We could talk about the arena thing until we're blue in the face.
Yeah, we have before. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
But one of the issues in Ottawa, I think, is that Guy Boucher wears his welcome out. Like he's like a modern-day Mike Keenan.
Wow.
Tampa was good, and then they weren't.
Yep.
And then he was gone, and they're good again.
Yep.
He has a very strict system that it's hard for players to be dedicated to for a long, for over the years and years.
He looks like a Bond villain, too. I mean, how do
he does. He would pull off a good Bond villain, for sure. I like that. But the Ottawa Senators, Carlson possibly giving trade destinations, wanting to leave. That is not what you want to hear out of Ottawa.
I think that all that is an ultimatum where get rid of the coach or get rid of me, but it's not going to work.
No, it's not. They seem like they're invested in Guy.
I really thought their GM was doing a really good job of transitioning from Brian Murray
God bless him.
into his own team.
Yeah.
And this year has just been a
crapshoot.
A mess.
Dumpster fire.
I honestly don't know. I thought they were going to be pretty good.
I thought so too. Now, before we go to Scott with the shootout discussion, because I want Scott to lead off and be the quarterback of the shootout discussion, the jersey throwing, I wanted to say first. I'm saying if, as a Leaf fan, Justin, we defined jersey throwing in the world of hockey in 2012. Defined it. 2013, jerseys were getting bought for $200, getting thrown on the ice. Hey, let me tell you something. The organization does not care. They do not care that you're throwing the jersey on the ice. You're paying for that jersey from the Chinese or if it's from the arena for $40 or $250. That's your joke. Now, if you're expressing your anger, I get it. I get the point. It's overused now. We get it. It's enough of that. Voice your displeasure by voicing it. Do petitions. I like when fans get passionate. The fans of Arizona, they went to city council for the team not to move. Not a lot of people showed up, but people still went. Show your passion that way, but I get it. You have some beers at the rink. Things change. You don't care about $200 jersey getting thrown on the ice. So I get it, but the jersey throwing, I'm not a big fan of. If I was a player, Justin, I would probably pick up that jersey and literally dust it off and curse the guy who threw it because.
But look at the players right now in Ottawa. Do they look like they care?
Mm-mm. So why should the fans care?
That's the thing, too, because the difference in Toronto is that there were players that went out on the ice and grabbed that jersey and were mad about it.
Yes, Phil Kessel being one, Nazem Kadri being the other.
Players in Ottawa don't care.
No.
They don't care. They're going out there they're no different than the person that goes to work on a Friday and just mails it in all day. Like they're done right now. They need something has to change the culture there.
It's either blow it up and do a rebuild
and the
with
owner
the young
doesn't
guys.
Really seem to care.
No.
About the product. He doesn't care about the on-ice product.
His comments are quite awful, too.
The thing that kills me is that you bring in Matt Duchesne to play, Guy Boucher's system, and then think the guy's going to, play defense 24/7. I think Kyle Turris was more of a two-way player than Matt Duchesne will ever be. The guy even played on the penalty kill a little bit here.
He's loving going to Nashville right now. Kyle Turris, right now, he's loving it. So moving on from that, guys, I'm going to go with the shootout to kind of wrap up the NHL discussion. And I'm going to give it to Scott to lead it off. I got to say, not a fan. But I'll wrap it up after you guys are done talking about. We'll go Scott, then we'll go to Dane, then Justin. Quick couple thoughts before we move to a multiple choice edition of our show, before we wrap it up. Scotty, how do you feel about the shootouts?
Shootout, you say? Shootout, you say. Well, as you well know, Dave, we've gotten in this discussion before on the game. As a matter of fact, one of our contributors, E.J. Russell, got on our show because of his lively opinion on the shootouts. I'll just say this. It was cute for a while. It was a novelty. It's time to just get rid of it. Get rid of it. I don't mind the 3-on-3 overtime. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Personally, I like the old system back when we were talking about the Norris division, the Patrick division, the Adams division, and the Smythe division. 5-on-5 hockey for 5 minutes, call it a tie, and just end it. That's the soccer guy in me. I'm okay with 3-on-3 and doing that right now, but the shootouts to me, guys, is just it was fun for a while, but so many games now are being decided by this. So many points. The records, you have 30 teams in the NHL, 6 of them are below 500. So it skews the records. I think we've seen it maybe once where a playoff team has gotten in because of the shootout. Maybe it's more than that, but it's time to get rid of it. Get rid of Gary Bettman while you're at it, but get rid of the shootout first. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm being gentle on the shootout. I'm a kinder, gentler 2018 shootout guy. So, gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think the shootout's kind of run its course. One thing I will say is I do really, really like the 3-on-3. I think only for the regular season, obviously, you would never transition that over to the playoffs.
No.
This makes no sense. But, I don't know, maybe take away the shootout and maybe you don't even have to make it a 10 minutes, but maybe make it like a 7 and, 30 seconds kind of, overtime period, and then bring back the tie, you know what I mean? Have your overtime loss, tie, same amount of points there kind of thing. But, yeah. The shootout is not quite as exciting. You know how they always used to say the most exciting play in hockey? Well, when there's actually a shootout, like during the middle of the game, it's like, oh, well,
who cares?
Yeah, it's not that exciting. It's just a penalty shot. We see that at the end of the game all the time now, right? Yeah. So it's kind of lost its loss. But, yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's maybe time in the off season when the general managers and owners speak to, maybe think of an alternative way to go with the at the end of the game if it's tied still.
Yeah. Justin.
It's gimmicky. It was there to get people back in the seats in certain markets. Now you got people interested again. And the 10 minutes of 3-on-3 to me is way better to watch. That 3-on-3 with some teams is killer hockey.
Yep.
Like
amazing. Toronto's a prime example. The Oilers even.
And the Oilers say 100%.
Yep.
I mean, Montreal, I don't even think could find one player on 3-on-3.
Can't find one player with Montreal.
But I mean, no, like the shootout, it had its place. Now it's gone. It's like Fox's glowing puck. Yep. It was cool for like 3 people.
I love
and then
these. I love the references.
But that's, I don't know. Get it out of here.
Get it out of here.
Put it in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Give it that section, like the weird knick-knack area. And
I like that. No, see, the thing is to wrap up the shootout discussion, guys. I think it should be 5 minutes of 4-on-4, 5 minutes of 3-on-3. After that's done, you go to a tie. And I think that's what the NOJHL does. That's right. And
the only thing
I said that 2 years ago, so I'm taking credit, NOJHL.
The only thing I have against that is because they kind of want to keep the time short. I feel like they would more likely like to go to a 3-on-3 right away because there's more. It's a better percentage that the game's going to end quicker. Rather, if you go to 4-on-4, it's probably going to go to the 3-on-3
more than likely
period. But like 10 minutes in 3-on-3, you got to think
So maybe the extra...
Somebody's going to score in 10 minutes, right?
Maybe you go that extra 2 minutes and 30 seconds, like you said.
Yeah, you don't have to make it the full 10 minutes because I know the time's the biggest thing. But, by the time they flood the ice for the shootout to happen, what's another 2 minutes and 50 seconds or even 5 minutes, right?
And then just get a tie in there and call it quits. And you know what? I believe, speaking of overtime, I know the Leaf game is actually just going into overtime.
Speaking of overtime, the Hounds lost 4-3.
And the Hounds lost 4-3 in overtime. And Scott was wrong on predictions.
Hey, well, we still have unbeaten in regulation streak still going right now. Okay. So keep her going. Keep her going.
I like that.
That's
and Team Canada, guys.
Ribbon.
I think I came in here and said it's going to be an absolute debacle. It's 6-1 Canada right now, so it's not as close as you guys figured. But now we got a little bit of some dirty play from the Czechs, a little bit of selling from the Canadians
Team
here.
Canada's getting it done before the third period starts, so you can go deal with the driveway.
Yes, that's right. That is the action. Go deal with the driveway for sure. You know what? Just to wrap up the shootout talk, get rid of it. Make it a penalty shot again, please. I hate how it decides games. Time to move on from it. Okay, guys, we're going to go to the multiple choice segment. We're going a little bit above time here, but you know what? We're allowed to do that as it's our opening show here at BP. So we're going to go through this quickly. We have a multiple choice segment. Now, people who are not familiar with the Game Sports Show, I feel like saying shame on you. But at the end of the day, the multiple choice segment is a segment that I introduced at SportsCenter Bar and Grill with the hockey segment of the show. Multiple choice is a question that's being answered with 4 possible answers that one of my co-hosts have to answer, and they don't really have to give a reason. I don't really care for a 5-minute answer, because I'm a big talker myself. But just a quick, just a quick 10 to 15 second answer why, if you are, or if you want, just give your name, and then we move on. We usually ask 3 to 4 questions with this. Tonight we are going to stick to 3 questions, keep it short and sweet. So to go on with it, I'm going to start with the question. I'll answer each question last. And I'm going to start, and I'll pick a name who starts on the 3 questions. I'm going to start with the first question going to Justin. Rookie of the Year. Option 1, Clayton Keller. Option 2, Brock Besser. Option 3, Nico Hischier. 4, Matthew Brazel. And if you guys haven't realized, we're going to call this the Mid-Season Awards edition of the multiple choice.
Keller's in Arizona, right?
Keller's in Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going with Keller 100%. He's been the only reason I've watched any of the Arizona games. He's good. I think he stands out.
I got to go with Brock Besser, the guy that Travis Green thought wasn't good enough to play in the NHL at the start of the year, and he's by far been their best player this year. The guy has, I think, about 8 more goals than the next rookie in the league. He's a couple games behind. He's hands down been the best Vancouver Canuck all season this year, and he, seemed like he kind of had a bit of a chip on his shoulder when he didn't get to play opening night or first 2 or 3 games there. But I think hands down Brock Besser.
I agree. 38 points, 37 games. The Minnesota native looking pretty good for the Canucks, who are one of the Canadian teams that are fighting to get into the playoffs, which I know we'll get to later. So I agree, Mr. Besser, Baser, whatever you want to call him.
I love that. Brock Besser. He has a good last name, but Brock Lesnar. You know what? I actually want to say that, too bad I didn't give an option E on this because I wanted to say another, but because I know Brock Besser or Clayton Keller would be the favorite. But you know what? I like being different. That's why I'm wearing a pink shirt today with black leather pants.
Can I guess your pick, or you're going to go Barzal?
I'm going Matthew Barzal. The big reason is because of the impact he has on his team. I guess you could say the same for Clayton Keller and Brock Besser or Nico Hischier. You could say the same, but I'm going to go with Matthew Barzal. I feel like throughout this entire year, I feel he's going to be the only one. Him and Nico Hischier are going to be the 2 to maintain this success. I feel Brock Besser and Clayton Keller might kind of drift off. Not much, but they're not going to keep up to the current standard. I feel like Barzal is in the position to be able to do that. Morrison has the right tools in the toolbox playing with him. Someone named Jordan Eberle, who's picked up his game. That's why I'm going to go with Matthew Barzal. Second multiple choice question. Surprise team making the playoffs. And I'm going to start with Dane. Then we're going to go to Scott. Then we're going to go to Justin. Second question. Surprise team making the playoffs. Option 1, Anaheim Ducks. And this is a surprise in itself that I'm saying this. Number 2, Chicago Blackhawks. Number 3, Dallas Stars. Or number 4, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Are we talking surprise if they do make it or don't make it?
Surprised if they do make it. So these teams are making the playoffs. This surprise team you're choosing is making the playoffs.
You know what? I think a lot of people had high hopes for Carolina at the start of the year. They haven't quite panned out. Maybe they're still a year behind of where people maybe thought they should be. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to ever count out the Chicago Blackhawks. Anaheim Getzlafs came back. He's been a really good player for them. The captain there. They've kind of turned the corner a little bit. Went on a bit of a winning streak there. I don't know. Carolina, I'd be surprised if Carolina makes the playoffs out of any of those teams. But yeah.
I was going to say Carolina, too. I thought they were going to be a little better than they were. Defensively, they should be way better than they are. But I still think they're a year out. But if they made it, yeah, that'd definitely be a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, if you were saying surprising teams to not make the playoffs out of that list, I'd say Chicago would be in that one. But, yeah, I think of those 4 right now, the team that would surprise me the most, and they would be in if the playoffs started today, is Carolina. I think they probably have an easier shot to get into the playoffs maybe than some of these other teams. Right now they're the last wild card team in the East. Is the East weaker than the West? It's kind of hard to tell top to bottom. But I would agree, gentlemen, make it a clean sweep for Carolina. They'd be the team that surprises me the most.
Oh, I think I was too busy eating turkey over the holidays. I noticed that Carolina went on a bit of a run there and got back in the playoffs. So maybe they are a good hockey team.
And you know what? If there was a team not making the playoffs, I think Pittsburgh might be on this list with Chicago that I'd like to say to test your point. But surprise team making the playoffs, because I think people doubted it. I got to be different once again. I'm going to go Dallas Stars. I still believe in Ben Bishop, Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn. And they got Klingberg, who's already a leader on that team. They have Dan Hamhuis back there, who's actually an older stud. I'm actually a fan of Hamhuis being a good shutdown, third-pairing guy. I feel like they have the tools in Dallas to get into the playoffs. So I'm going to answer with the Dallas Stars. Go with the good old Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. Is that true, Scott? No, it's not? Okay. Question 3, we're going to start with Scott on this one. What do you? Which Canadian team currently out of the playoffs, and this is your question, has the best chance of being in? Montreal, Calgary, Vancouver, or dare I say this, I can't believe it, the Edmonton Oilers. Scotty?
This is a tough question. That's why I brought it up, because I don't know the answer. I mean, you're just waiting for Edmonton to turn the corner. You're just waiting. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10 games, which is okay. But, right now they're 9 points out of the playoffs, and they got a bunch of teams ahead of them, 4, including Calgary. So you look at records right now and where the teams are, Calgary would be in the best shape. I mean, Montreal, They're behind Detroit, which says something. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've lost 5 in a row. So, guys, I'm just waiting for Edmonton to turn that corner. I think they can sneak into the playoffs and then make some damage, but I don't know. This team just isn't getting it done.
See, to me, I think Calgary is going to be the one that sneaks in. They're gritty enough. They've been there before. And they can score. They just got to get it together and go on a bit of a hot streak. They got a goalie.
They do. Mike Smith is a good goaltender.
But I mean, it's like Scotty was saying. Edmonton they can't
capitalize on their opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like every night they outshoot the opposition and then lose 4-0. It's just like, they're outshoot the team by 15 shots, going, halfway through the second period, and then they get one goal against them and they completely collapse. Yeah.
It's like, I was going to make another comment, but I saw your Atlanta Falcons hat, so I just stopped.
Yeah. I don't need any more abuse.
No.
I think at the end of the day, I honestly don't think any of them are going to make the playoffs. And, it breaks my heart saying that about the Oilers. Every time they give me hope, they just fold and they're back in the same spot they've been all year. And I can pretty much for sure say that Vancouver and Montreal have zero shot of making the playoffs. So
Nothing makes me happier than Montreal not making the playoffs.
I'll pick Edmonton because they're my boys, and it's sacrilegious to pick Calgary, the only other viable option there. So yeah, I'll go Edmonton.
I'm going to go off the kind of different route, I'm going to go that route and say Vancouver. I'm going to believe in Vancouver because I feel Markstrom has played above what he's actually able of doing. I want to say Calgary, to be honest, to all the listeners out there. That's the team I want to say, but my gut is saying kind of to believe in Vancouver, even though they're a little bit lower than both Calgary and Edmonton, I believe right now. Vancouver. Young guys are looking good. The Sedins are still there. They have no intentions of leaving. Going down the stretch, I feel like some of the veterans that are on that team are going to be able to help carry the younger guys into kind of going above and beyond. And at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with the Vancouver Canucks. And look at who other than Tyler Kennedy, friend, listener of the show, former Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup champion, just walks in the door. I definitely should get him just maybe say hi quick, but we'll save that for another show. Yeah, I got to go with the Vancouver Canucks to kind of round up the multiple choice. So to round up the show, guys, we went about 10 minutes above in this one. But you know what? This is the round table. We do this on the game all the time on Mondays. Goes a little bit above. The show has been great here tonight. We did a 2-hour little edition tonight. We're only going to be doing it for an hour on Thursdays, just so everybody knows. Give you a little special treat tonight. Scott, I'll let you say a few words before I kind of wrap it up with these guys too. Thank you for coming over the border for your first trip over to Soo, Ontario. I'd love to get you more over here at Boston Pizza.
Appreciate the invite, gentlemen, and Dave. Congratulations on another new show. You're like Pitbull. You're Mr. Worldwide. You're gonna have shows at like seven nights a week at 7 different locations. But looking forward to having you back on the game on stateside there on the 15th, and looking forward to being part of that. Nice to meet you two gentlemen. I know we've heard each other, but we've never really met, and so looking forward to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for having me on, and best of luck in 2018, my friend.
Dane? Yeah, you're always with me. Thanks.
Thanks for having me. Great first show at
thanks.
Great first show at Boston Pizza.
Yep, and looking forward to a great year here at Boston Pizza every Thursday. Justin, you're with me Wednesdays. You're with me Thursdays.
Every
time. You've kind of you follow. You've been through the thick and thin with
now
interviews.
Thursdays, so I got to put jeans on. If we're coming west to People's or east to People's Road, you got to
put jeans. Put jeans on. We're actually going to be in the back corner in front of the TV, so it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of goes this rest of the year. I'm excited for Boston Pizza to be aboard, and I want to thank you, the listeners. I got to thank additional sponsors as well. I know Boston Pizza is the new big dog in town, the new sheriff. But Sports Center Bar and Grill, we still have that on Wednesdays. Like I said, we'll be starting that next week. For the In the Pocket segment, we'll be back, talk about your football news and all other sporting news other than hockey and baseball. Mondays, we'll be back on the game, as Scott said, Monday the 15th, live at 6 p.m. on 95.1. And like I said, we'll be back here every Thursday, so we're going to be back here Thursday. That'll be January the 11th. Be back here at Boston Pizza at 9:15. We'll be here. Show will take off at 9:30. We're talking the hockey updates up until that point. Hopefully we have some Soo Greyhounds up and into this interview as well, and some other local guests like Jamie Henderson and Joey Miller coming on. So I'm excited for a great year. So what other way to do it than to wrap up our first year show saying once again Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Once again, thanks to Boston Pizza. I got to thank, like I said, Sports Center, he said, the Salon, North Shore Sports and Auto, the Superior Pro Shop, Pingator Cleaners, the Wicked Sister, and Discover the Canvas for also being sponsors on the Game Sports Show, and for all you provide. Wouldn't be with where we are today without our sponsors. So on behalf of Scott, Dane, Justin, to all out there, have a good night, and we'll be talking to you next week. The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional home to the Game Sports Show, Canadian franchise Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, located on 601 Great Northern Road, Sault Ste. Marie. Come in and join Boston Pizza for its numerous specials that are offered. After 9 p.m. daily, come in to Boston Pizza for $9 schooners, $4 rail drinks, and delicious food. Boston Pizza, Sault Ste. Marie, you're among friends.